Okay, I want to start this with just a number. That's it. Just a number. But I want you to really hold it in your head for a sec because, well, this number kind of changes how you see the world.
Ready? 151 and 51 million.
So what is that? That's the population of one single island in Indonesia, the island of Java. Now, a number that big, it's almost meaningless on its own, right? It's just too huge. So let's give it some context.
And wow, what you're looking at right here is it's a mind-bending comparison. So over on the right, you've got Russia, the largest country on Earth, right? Stretches across 11 time zones. Population, 144 million. Now look at the left. That's Java. It's only about the size of, say, England, and it has more people. I mean, just let that sink in. That is an absolutely astonishing fact.
Believe it or not, it gets even more extreme. I mean, when you think of population density, what's the first place that pops into your head? For most people, it's Bangladesh, right? It's the classic go-to example. But look at this. Java is actually somehow more densely populated than the country we all use as the benchmark for density. It's wild.
So, okay, this just raises some massive questions, doesn't it? Like, how? How is that even possible? And why? Why there, of all places? And maybe most importantly, what does it actually feel like to live in a place that crowded? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack right now. All right, so the story of how Java can support this incredible number of people, it doesn't start with politics or economics. It actually starts way deeper than that. It starts with geology. This is a story written in fire and water.
So it all comes down to this chain of events. See, Java sits right on the Ring of Fire. It has 38 active volcanoes, and for thousands and thousands of years, those volcanoes have been erupting, laying down these thick layers of super mineral-rich soil. This hyper-fertile ground, it's the perfect setup for a very special kind of farming that can feed an unbelievable number of people.
And that special kind of farming is wet rice cultivation. Now, this is not your average farming. You combine that amazing volcanic soil with a tropical climate and some seriously sophisticated irrigation, and what you get is magic. Javanese farmers can get 2, sometimes even 3 full harvests from the exact same field all in 1 year. The sheer volume of calories this produces per acre, that's the secret sauce. That's what makes the whole thing possible.
And this timeline, this shows you the result. For a long, long time, Java was populous, sure, but nothing like what was coming. Just look at that graph. Look at the explosion in the 19th and 20th centuries. It's practically a vertical line. The population multiplied 30 times over in just 400 years. That's one of the most dramatic population booms in all of human history. And it all happened on this one island.
Okay, so now we kind of get the how. But that brings us back to that other question. What does this density actually feel like? What's it like on the ground? And I'll tell you, it's an experience that can completely recalibrate your sense of space.
Yeah, this quote here captures the feeling perfectly. When you're traveling across Java, the idea of empty space, it just sort of vanishes. You're not going from one city to the next with farmland in between. It's more like one single, continuous human settlement, a completely inhabited and cultivated landscape.
And that really gets to the core of it. This isn't nature with some people living in it. No, it is a human landscape, through and through. Pretty much every single square meter of the island that can be used by people is being used. From the terraced slopes of the volcanoes down to the coastal plains, the entire island has been sculpted by and for human life. And the absolute peak of this density, the epicenter, is of course Jakarta. We're talking 34 million people in the metro area, and the challenges are just immense. The traffic, they call it kemacetan, is legendary. But there's an even bigger problem. The city is literally sinking, and fast, mostly because they're pulling out so much groundwater. This puts it at an extreme risk from flooding. The pressure is so intense, in fact, that it's a huge reason why Indonesia is actually moving its capital city.
But, if we only talk about the problems, we're missing half the story, a really important half. Because density isn't just a challenge, it's also a creative force. Think of it like a pressure cooker for culture, for innovation, for economic energy.
And that's the central tension, right? It's this duality. On the one hand, yeah, there's enormous strain on every single system you can think of. But on the other hand, cramming all those people together creates this incredible marketplace of ideas, of talent, of pure energy that you don't get in places with fewer people.
And this pressure has produced some absolutely incredible things. You've got cities like Bandung that are just hotbeds for arts and startups. You've got Yogyakarta, which is a huge university and intellectual hub. And the food. The sheer number of people has created one of the richest, most diverse street food cultures you'll find anywhere on the planet. Ancient traditions like gamelan music or wayang puppet theater, they thrive here because there's this critical mass of people to keep them alive.
So where does this all go? What's next for the world's most crowded island? Well, the story is definitely not over. In fact, some really big changes are happening right now.
First thing to know, that explosive population growth, it's finally slowing down. A lot. Indonesia actually had one of the most successful family planning programs in history, and you can see the fertility rate has just plummeted. But, and this is a big but, because there are so many young people from past generations, the population is still going to climb for a few more decades before it finally levels off. That's called demographic momentum.
And all this pressure leads to one of the most ambitious, most audacious national projects on the entire planet right now. They're building a brand new capital city from scratch. It's called Nusantara, and it's on a different island altogether, Borneo. The goal is pretty clear. Take the massive pressure off of Jakarta and at the same time try to spread development and wealth to other parts of the country.
When you look at Java, it forces you to ask a really profound question. It's like, it's a real-world laboratory for the future of our species. What does a sustainable human civilization actually look like at this scale? How do you make a society vibrant, functional, and just plain livable with this many people packed together?
I think this quote just nails the whole story of Java. It's so easy to just look at the density and see it as nothing but a problem. You see the traffic, the pollution, the strain on everything. But if that's all you see, you're missing the incredible creativity and resilience that very same pressure has produced over hundreds of years.
And really, that's the final takeaway here. Java is a living, breathing testament to both sides of that coin, the destructive and the creative power of human density. It's just an extraordinary example of our species' ability to adapt, to innovate, and to build these incredibly rich cultures under the most intense conditions you can possibly imagine.